They're suing me for something I didn't do. It's just the most annoying. And I literally had to pay them a lot of money. Jake Paul's words capture the chaos, confusion, and PR nightmare that has unfolded over what should have been one of the biggest boxing matchups of the year. Gervonta "Tank" Davis cancelled. Not quite. The fight didn't just vanish. It imploded, and now Jake finds himself in court, facing allegations of defamation and breach of contract. The dream matchup was supposed to happen on November 14th in Miami, a city that would host the clash between Jake Paul, the brash YouTube-born boxer turned pay-per-view sensation, and Tank Davis, one of the most feared knockout artists in professional boxing today. Netflix was backing the event. Millions of fans had bought into the hype. It was billed as a collision of entertainment and skill, spectacle and legitimacy. Then it all fell apart. Jake Paul took to social media to announce the fight's cancellation, framing it as a moral decision. According to him, one of the most dangerous punchers in boxing was suddenly unfit to compete because of alleged personal failings. He claimed Netflix pulled the plug. He cast himself as a champion of women, refusing to platform an abuser, a moral hero walking away from evil. In that brief moment, his narrative worked. Fans, analysts, and media for a second bought the story. But whispers began. Questions arose. Posters, promotions, and contracts were already in circulation. Who really cancelled the fight? According to Tank's camp, Netflix did nothing. The fight was still on. Gervonta Davis's coach, Kenny Ellis, laid it out bluntly. Jake Paul pulled the plug because he got scared. The narrative of principle, of courage and moral high ground, shattered in a single concise sentence. Suddenly, everything Jake claimed as virtue was exposed as fear disguised as morality. His moral crusade, a carefully crafted PR shield, fell apart under scrutiny. The facts were simple. Netflix never cancelled. Contracts remained binding. Logos and promotional material still advertised the fight. And most importantly, Jake Paul, the man who built an empire on bravado and spectacle, had backed out. The reasons behind the cancellation became clearer as insiders leaked more details. The contract mandated a fight weight of 195 pounds. Jake Paul, according to reports, was nowhere near that mark. Sluggish, drained, and ill-prepared. Meanwhile, Tank Davis, lean, sharp, and one of boxing's most lethal punchers, was ready to go. The scales of competition were tilted, not in skill, but in readiness. And Jake, facing the real risk of a knockout, pulled a sudden moral exit. Public perception quickly turned. Fans began connecting the dots. Why fight Mike Tyson, a man with a controversial past, or Mike Perry, accused of domestic abuse, but suddenly refuse Tank Davis? Why invoke principles of protecting women when the issue had nothing to do with that? Each tweet, Instagram post, and public statement designed to frame Jake as the hero was dissected and dismantled. Social media, once a platform for hype, became a microscope exposing inconsistency and pretense. Tank Davis's camp, meanwhile, moved decisively. They filed a lawsuit for defamation and breach of contract, claiming that Jake's public statements caused significant financial and reputational damage. The legal action alleges that Jake's moral crusade wasn't naive. It was deliberate. If proven, he could be liable for millions in lost revenue, sponsorship damage, and contractual penalties. Boxing analysts quickly weighed in. Ego, a respected commentator, cut through the PR narrative. If boxing banned everyone with a criminal record, there'd be no boxing left. Boxing isn't about saints, it's about survivors. Legends don't emerge from virtue. They emerge from grit, chaos, and survival. And Jake's moral positioning, in contrast to the realities of the sport, was exposed as a calculated misstep. From the perspective of boxing purists, the entire saga highlighted the tension between entertainment-driven bouts and traditional competition. Jake Paul, the YouTube-turned-boxer phenomenon, brings attention, clicks, and pay-per-view numbers, but when faced with a legitimate high-risk fighter like Tank Davis, the spectacle cracks under pressure. The courtroom replaced the ring as the ultimate test of accountability, where spin, followers, and theatrics have no bearing. The financial implications are massive. Davis's team claims that Jake's public statements not only sabotaged the fight but also disrupted the business ecosystem around it. Fight purses, undercard matchups, Netflix promotions, and sponsorships all fell victim to a sudden, unilateral cancellation. The lawsuit is precise in its accusations. Jake didn't just back out. He used public morality as a shield while potentially harming careers, reputations, and financial agreements. The PR narrative crumbles further when contextualized against Jake's previous fights. He fought Mike Tyson after the latter served time in prison. He fought controversial figures with histories of alleged abuse. The sudden pivot to moral justification raises the question, was the cancellation ever about principle, or was it a veil for fear of facing a legitimate threat? Tank Davis's team certainly thinks it's the latter. Jake's legacy, built on bravado and carefully crafted chaos, is suddenly vulnerable. The social media persona, fearless, unflinching, larger than life, is powerless under oath, facing a lawsuit that could cost millions and irreparably damage his professional reputation. The moral crusade that was meant to shield him instead amplifies his vulnerability. Analysts and fans alike are dissecting every angle. Was the act of backing out justified? Did it protect Jake physically? Or was it an ethical decision? The consensus leans toward the latter being a convenient fiction. The facts, weight discrepancies, fight preparedness, and the unaltered status of the Netflix contract paint a simpler picture. Fear disguised as virtue. Beyond financial and reputational stakes, the situation underscores a broader lesson about accountability in modern boxing. The sport